Right, we've got a couple of pretty straightforward equations using e to the x and ln x and stuff now. Remember that e to the x and ln x are inverses, so they kind of cancel each other out. All right, so the key to it is whenever you e something, an equation, both sides, you have to do the whole thing. So when you get something like this here, all right, we've got to make sure we simplify as much as possible, and you should know that ln x plus ln 3 is going to be ln 3x, right? That's laws of logarithms. That was earlier on in the course. You should know that when you add logs, right, you're actually multiplying what's logged, as it were. Now, I want x, and I need to get x away from ln, so I need to apply an exponential to both sides. So what I'm going to do, and you wouldn't when you get used to this, you wouldn't normally do this, but I'm just going to do this sort of thing. Now, e to the ln of something, and this is given in your formula book actually, will just give you this. Alright, so the e and the ln cancel each other out, alright, and so therefore x equals 2. Alright, nice easy one actually. Right, but that's actually an exam question. I think it was number 1 in fairness in the paper, but there you go. Now then, this second one, alright, it looks horrible. And it genuinely does look horrible. Now, what I'm going to do to make it look a bit nicer is I'm going to multiply everything by e to the x. Alright, and it's because I've got, and I'll circle it, I've got this thing here, e to the minus, 3e to the minus x. Alright, and that's not very nice. So if I multiply by e to the x, I'm going to end up with e to the 2x plus 3 equals 4 e to the x. Now, you should hopefully notice that when I now get everything onto one side, I actually have a quadratic in e. Now, if you wanted to think of it as, well, u equals e to the x, alright, if I wanted u equals e to the x here, okay, u equals e to the x, I would have u squared plus 3 equals 4u. Alright, and so that's where this thing comes from here. Now, you should know that, oops, it's in blue, isn't it, that I can now, exactly like a normal quadratic that you did at GCSE, just factorise that, and I get -1 and -3. So e to the x is 1, and e to the x equals 3. Now this here, what power of x makes e to the x equal to 1? Alright, well that's 0. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. And when I'm solving this, I'm just going to apply it, and I'll do it in, I haven't really used green, so I'll use green. I want the x to get away from me, so I'm going to do ln of e to the x equals ln of 3. Alright, now they're saying exact solutions here, so I don't actually want to stick ln 3 into my calculator. Right, now I'm going to end up with this, and I'm doing it more stages than I really need, but ln e is 1, so I just get x equals ln 3 there. Alright, so you just got to be a little bit careful. Remember they're inverses of each other. Alright, and if you're applying logarithms or applying e to both sides, or removing logarithms, whatever you want to call it, okay, you've got to do it to the whole thing. Alright, so just take a little bit of care there.